of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau during the Obama administration, and she has been defending it ever since. Joining us now is Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. Senator, thank you so much for making time to be here tonight.
Happy to be with you.
Tell me about this protest today at CFPB headquarters.
Well, so we're in this moment where Donald Trump ran for president saying over and over and over he was going to lower costs for American families. Remember how much he talked about the price of groceries, the price of eggs, right? Going to lower those costs. And now here we are 3 weeks into the Trump administration. And they say this Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is literally the cop on the beat to make sure that a family doesn't get cheated when they take out a mortgage, that you don't get tricked in the fine print on a car loan, that your credit card doesn't have a bunch of hidden fees in it, that your student loan issuer hasn't scammed you and put you in the wrong program. So this is an agency that literally, over the 13 years it's been out there working, has recovered more than $21 billion that these big financial institutions have cheated people out of, and actually returned the money to the people that they cheated. So what Donald Trump has done, saying he really wanted to lower costs, is he's taken this agency that is the cop on the beat for the cheaters, and when they get caught cheating, makes them give the money back. And he said, cops, step aside, look the other way. We don't care how big the scam is. We don't care who's getting hurt. Just everybody put your pens down, fold your hands, put them in your lap, and let the scams roll on.
What do you make about the way they have done this? Because you and I have spoken before, since the formation of the CFPB, about all the ways that Republicans have tried to come after it and all the ways that, you know, people who represent these financial institutions have tried to kill it, have tried to undermine it. If it was this easy, if it was just a proclamation, tell all the workers to go home, stop working on any of this stuff, and by the way, we're shutting the building, why didn't they do it like this before? It seems to me like that might be an indication that this isn't actually a legal way to close this agency.
Oh, that's exactly right. Congress created this agency. There were laws that were passed, right? They passed a bill in the House, passed a bill in the Senate, did a conference, got the thing through, was signed into law by the President of the United States. And only Congress, not Donald Trump, not Elon Musk, not some 22-year-old programmer. Only Congress can shut this agency down. But here's the trick on that one. You notice none of the Republicans, oh, yeah, they beat on their chests and they're big manly guys and they keep putting in these bills to say, let's shut down the consumer agency. But they don't actually want a real vote on that. A lot of them don't actually want to stand next to exactly what they're trying to do. And that is shut down the agency that has handled more than 6 million consumer complaints by people who got cheated, by their credit card companies, by payday loan companies. They don't want to admit what they're trying to do. Remember, that $21 billion, that came out of somebody's hide. And you know whose hide it came out of? The cheaters and the scammers. It came out of the hides of the billionaire CEOs. And they would like to have the opportunity to earn that money going forward. So they want to push. But there are a lot of folks in Congress actually kind of squeamish about that. So they did the end run. They tried it through the courts. You know what the Supreme Court of the United States said? Not once, but twice. Thing is perfectly constitutional. Yep, it's going to go forward. If you want to change it, you've got to go back to Congress. And now here's Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and a handful of 22-year-olds saying, no, we think we're just going to find another way to shut it down. It's not only not legal and not popular. Really, it's a case of saying they want to fire the financial cops, but they'd like for nobody really to notice that. And particularly, Elon Musk would like nobody to notice that he just wants to get rid of them before he launches his new financial product.
Let me ask you about the point you just raised there about how the Supreme Court has weighed in on this twice already and said this is a constitutionally sound agency that you can't just wish it away.
Yep.
I feel like this is not an original thought. I think a lot of people are having this thought at the same time, which is for all of these court challenges that are happening, most of which are succeeding at stopping the things they've tried to do in these first 3 weeks. For each of those, we have started to see them now make noises about potentially defying those court rulings. We have had in the USAID case and in the halt to government funding case, we've had the plaintiffs in those cases go back to the judges and say, Your Honor, your order that the government needed to stop doing what they were doing, they seem to be defying your order. We're going to need something stronger. What do you make of this big, I think, constitutionally existential question about whether or not court rulings are going to be treated as optional by these guys? Their brazenness at breaking the law, whether it's with the CFPB or USAID or any of these other things they're doing, seems to me born of a kind of confidence that can only come from their expectation that the courts don't mean much at the end of the day, and that illegality is not necessarily a reason to avoid doing something that they really want to do.
You're right. We've got our toes right on the edge of a constitutional crisis here. But here's the thing. It may be the case that Donald Trump is so full of confidence that he thinks he can wave his wand and whatever he wants to happen will happen. And in many cases, he will be right. For example, the Republicans in the Senate just go ahead and confirm people for jobs that they know they are not qualified for. So they will kowtow to him. But I don't think that's going to happen with the courts. And here's the next part. They may not be able to force Donald Trump to do something, but Donald Trump isn't actually the guy who puts in the orders and cuts people's paychecks. There's somebody else in the system who does that. And they're a click down from Donald Trump and a click down from that and a click down from that. And when a federal court issues an order and then gets people in front of them and says, you either follow that order or find yourself in contempt, now we're going to see whether or not those are people who are going to say, oh, but Donald Trump told me, and a judge is going to say, I don't care what Donald Trump told you. I'm telling you what the law is. You follow the law. And, you know, my view right now is the courts are where we are hanging on to our constitutional structure. They still have the power to hold everybody else in this country in contempt if they do not follow lawfully issued court orders.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, thank you for your time tonight. It was really interesting also to see you out there with protesters today, people showing up and putting themselves on the line, showing up in real life to stand up for the CFPB and the people that work there. I appreciate you being there with those folks and telling us about what it was like. Thanks for being